The Giants lose a game that they could have won again. Welcome back to the Empire State Sports Report. I'm your host, Adrianna, also known as New York Giants fangirl on social media. This podcast is brought to you by Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the number one place to make all of your sports betting needs, whether you're looking for NFL, college football, MLB, and more. Make sure to download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and bet responsibly. Well, guys, another game, another blown lead by the defense. Look, it was only 1 point, but a lead is a lead, no matter how many points it is. And another, questionable play call. Oh my God, the struggles of this team. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to start with the offense because overall, it was great. I was very impressed. The Packers' run defense has been allowing an average of 91 rushing yards per game. 91. The Giants ran for 142. Devin Singletary, 2 running touchdowns. More, just like we all expected. Devin Singletary to be the star running back, right? He stepped in, has a great game. Tyrone Tracy also stepped up, had a great game. The offensive line, Micah Parsons was not even a problem until the end of the game, which is unbelievable. Micah Parsons, who always whoops our ass, seemingly, whether he's on the Cowboys or the Packers, I guess it doesn't matter. But still, a very impressive game from the offensive line, from the offense. They put up points against a Packers defense who is ranked number 5 in the NFL, number 5 overall. And do you know who helped them do it? Outside of the run game, Isaiah Hodgins. I cannot even explain to you how upset I am at Joe Schoen. And I just was watching the game, and every time Isaiah Hodgins caught the ball, because that's what he does, because he's a good wide receiver, I just kept screaming out loud that how on earth, Joe Schoen, could you not sign him the second Malik Neighbors went down? He was on a goddamn practice squad. There's no reason for you to not pick him up. And then you lose Darius Slayton before the Eagles game, and you still don't bring him in? All I can think about is, could you imagine if Isaiah Hodgins was on this team before they play the Saints? And look, maybe things go exactly the way that they went. But I'll tell you what, I think things would have went differently because Bo Collins wouldn't have been running the wrong route and stopping mid-route. You know who doesn't do that? Isaiah Hodgins. You put Isaiah Hodgins in that place instead of Bo Collins, and guess what? Maybe that ball's not an interception. Maybe Jalen Hyatt also wouldn't have caused another interception. If you allow Isaiah Hodgins on the field. Just unacceptable decision-making by Joe Schoen. He was a fucking practice squad player. You don't have to pay him millions of dollars. What are we doing? It just enrages me, the stupid decisions that this front office makes. And then, don't even get me started on the report. I'm going to talk about this later this week because I didn't even get to watch the whole report. All I saw was clips from Jay Glazer and the list of coaches because the Giants are, quote, not going to do an extensive search for a head coach. Okay, great. We're 2-9. Let's bring in Mike McCarthy. Great. That makes me feel good. Or better yet, how about Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy? Are you fucking kidding me? I was fuming during this whole game because the decisions that this front office makes consistently makes them lose games. And then you have the nerve when this team is 2-8. You have the nerve to consider bringing in Matt Nagy and Arthur Smith? Are you fucking serious right now? That's disgusting. Everyone should be fired. Every single one of you in that building. That's disgusting. It's an embarrassment to everyone who's a Giants fan. And I hope everyone who's a season ticket holder says, go fuck yourself if they go ahead and do that. That's disgusting. You tell us you want to win games and you're going to bring in Matt Nagy and Arthur Smith? Because you have a good core nucleus of players who Tay Banks got his ass whooped today. He got benched for a 7th round practice squad player named Corey Black, who at least is going to try to make plays where Tay Banks doesn't. Are you kidding me? It is absolutely disgusting and horrific that they had the nerve to let that Jay Glazer report come out before this football game. Disgusting. As you can tell, I'm infuriated by it because this is a losing football team and it's a losing franchise. And the fact that the front office continue to make the dumbest decisions you've ever seen in your life. It doesn't take a rocket science to decide that when you lose your best player after winning the Chargers game, hey, maybe we should do something about this. Even after Darius Slayton goes down after the Eagles win. before the Eagles win. Let's still not help out our rookie quarterback. Instead, we're going to have him use Bo Collins and Jalen Hyatt, who Brian Dable literally hated. But yeah, let's put them on the field. They know what they're doing. And Mike Kafka, I actually think that he did a great job today. The challenge was questionable. Fine. Okay, I can get over that. You lose the timeout, whatever. The offense is moving the ball. I thought the play calls were fine. I liked the aggressiveness of it. You're going for it on fourth down? Great. Go for it. Be consistent. You know what Kafka was today? Consistent. You know what Brian Dable has never been? Consistent. So if you want to shit on Mike Kafka, fine. But at least he was consistent and he was aggressive. Every time it was fourth down, he went for it. And you could get mad about the kick, but I wasn't even mad about it. You want to know why? Because Koo might have missed that one. Because how many missed kicks did we have to watch today to feel like, well, I don't know, maybe Koo's going to get it this time. I don't know about you, but I didn't feel great that he was going to make it. I didn't even feel like Prime Graham Gano would have made that kick. So I don't even care. I'm not even mad about that. Because they still would have had to go for the touchdown at the end of the game anyway. If they kick that field goal and they make it, guess what? They still need a touchdown to win the game. They're still down by 4. So I like that he was aggressive. I think he did a lot of things right. That play call at the end of the game, though, is unacceptable. I appreciate that he has confidence in his players and he has confidence in Jalen Hyatt. But to throw the ball to Jalen Hyatt on the potential game-winning touchdown is a horrible decision in every way, shape, and form. And, you know, I can excuse it because he's an interim head coach. You know, it's the first time, whatever. Please don't ever do that again, Mike Kafka. And if you do it the second time, I am going to absolutely ream you for it because it's unacceptable. Jalen Hyatt made 1 catch in the game. I'm pretty sure. Let me pull up the box score and double check. He made 1 catch. Hold on. Jalen Hyatt. I'm sorry. Out of 4 targets, he made 2 receptions for 18 yards. And he is going to be the guy that you are going to throw the ball to for the game-winning touchdown? And Kafka confirms after the game that if they scored that touchdown, he was going to go for 2. The Packers had 2 timeouts left. The Giants were basically in the red zone. You were running the ball well. The Packers defense, they were running the ball well. They were exhausted. You couldn't have just run the ball and tried to run out the clock and run it into the end zone for the touchdown. You're trusting Jalen Hyatt out of everyone. I get it. You want to trust Theo Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Isaiah Hodgins. I don't care. Daniel Bellinger, that's fine. But Jalen Hyatt, that's who you're going to trust in the back of the end zone to catch the ball? And if he caught it, it would have been a miracle. That's great. But that is not a decision that I am trusting. I am not trusting Jalen Hyatt out of every one of those wide receivers and tight ends to catch the ball. That to me was a horrible, horrible play call. I don't know what he was thinking. You had 3 timeouts left. You had plenty of time to try and run the ball. It was what, 1st and 10? Even if it was 2nd and 10, run the ball. Try and run down the clock. You had over a minute left. That's plenty of time to run the ball to try and get the touchdown. And maybe you make your way a little bit closer before you decide to dump it off. Also, notice how there were barely any design quarterback run plays today. We'll see if that changes next week with Jackson Dart. And the good news about Jackson Dart is he's making his way through concussion protocol enough for the fact that he was able to be on the sidelines today, which is huge because I actually wasn't sure if he was going to be able to because of the noise and the lights and the whole thing. So that's good news. 38 carries for 142 yards, the offense, excuse me. Jameis Winston was 19 for 29, 201 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He obviously had the rushing touchdown. He was sacked twice for 7 yards. Great showing by the offensive line, opening up holes for the run game like that, keeping Jameis Winston on his feet for the majority of the game, giving him enough time to pass the ball and make smart decisions. And the passing game, 19 receptions for 201 yards. Look, they didn't light it up. They didn't have 400 plus yards, but still, they had 343. They put up 20 points. Should have been 27. Should have been enough for you to win that game. And yet, it's not a win because it's the Giants and it's Shane Bowen. And we're going to talk about the defense in a minute, but I'm not done with this offense. Isaiah Hodgins, 5 receptions out of 6 targets. He's the leading wide receiver. He's been here for 3 days. He's the leading wide receiver with 57 yards. And Joe Shane couldn't have signed him 4 weeks ago. It's incompetence at its finest. I don't give a shit what the reason was. There's not a single good reason for that to have not to do that sooner. Not a single one. Not one. We talk every single year with this team about missed opportunities because it's the consensus. It happens every goddamn time. There's some missed opportunity. And Isaiah Hodgins and, cutting Evan Neal and benching Jalen Hyatt and getting rid of Tay Banks or benching him. There's a million decisions that they could have made that would have made things differently. And maybe, just maybe, if they bring in Isaiah Hodgins in week before the Saints game, maybe things go differently. And maybe they don't. That's fine. But there's a 50% chance that it could have went differently. And that's a risk that you have to make as the GM. You're not signing Justin Jefferson. You're not trading for T. Higgins. You're picking up someone off the practice squad, someone who already knows this offense, someone who helped you win a goddamn playoff game. It's just unacceptable. In every way, shape, and form. And now I have to hear that, we're going to keep Joe Shane and he's going to lead the head coach search and they're going to bring in Matt fucking Nagy. You guys, I'm going to say this with my whole chest and I'm going to stand by it right now. If they hire Matt Nagy or Arthur Smith as the head coach of this team, I am rooting for the Lions next year. I am dead ass because they don't want to win football games if they do something like that. And I don't give a shit what a single one of them says in their fucking media things, in their press conferences. I don't care because you don't want to win if you do something like that. And it's already bad enough that they're going to keep Joe Shane after one fucking move like bringing in Isaiah Hodgins could have potentially changed the trajectory of this season. It's just disgusting. Tyron Tracy, 4 for 4 for 51 yards. Theo Johnson, 3 for 4 for 36 yards. Theo Johnson came up really big today. 2 huge third down conversions, 1 3rd and 7, 1 3rd and 5. Great game from Theo Johnson. I have no complaints out of him. Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 out of 9. Some of those he had to catch. Some of them were bad plays. Some of them should have been interceptions if, there weren't Butterfingers on the Packers team, which is another thing that we have to talk about, is that we got so lucky the last 2 games. I thought the Giants were the only teams that have receivers who don't know how to catch the ball. And apparently we're not, because the Packers had some of the most egregious drops today I've probably ever seen. Atrocious in every way, shape, and form. That's not even on the offense. There should have been multiple interceptions in this game. And we are so lucky that the Packers defense can't catch the ball. We are so lucky that Xavier McKinney did not have a field day against Jameis Winston today because he could have, and he did it almost every week last year. What did he lead the league in interceptions? He was an all-pro. Not today. Gary, Micah Parsons, these guys didn't even make a huge impact. And we still couldn't win. So let's talk about the defense first. The Giants, for those of you who are paying attention to the spread on FanDuel, were 7.5-point favorites. And if you took the spread, oh man, you just missed out because they lost by 7. So I don't think I don't think that's it. But right now we got some good games going on the 4:00 slate. We've got Seahawks versus Rams. We've got the Niners at Cards, Chiefs at Broncos, and Ravens at Browns. Some really good matchups here. Let's talk about the Seahawks at the Rams. The Rams are the favorite here, minus 250. As of right now, the score is 14-6 if you're making any live bets. Seahawks are plus 190. I think the Rams are going to win this, but they could keep it close. The spread now is 4.5 points, and let's do one just for fun for the night game tonight. Detroit Lions at Philadelphia Eagles. I know every single one of us is rooting for the Lions to whoop some ass. The Lions are underdogs at plus 126. The Eagles are the favorites, minus 148, and the spread is 2.5 points. Obviously rooting for the Lions here. Jahmyr Gibbs is the only favorite for an anytime touchdown score, minus 115. Saquon plus 100 and Jalen Hurts plus 115. All of these bets you can get on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download the app today and make sure to always bet responsibly. What do we even want to say with the defense at this point? They just gave up another lead. Brian Burns is a star among rocks. Seriously. The guy had 5 tackles, 3 solo, 2 sacks. Oh, shit, I didn't realize he had 2. Hell yeah. He's got 13 on the year. Should be no question, the defensive player of the year. Like, it should not even be a doubt at this point. 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 4 quarterback hits. The only person on this team who can actually get to the quarterback. Dexter Lawrence made his presence known a little bit today. He only had 1 solo tackle, but he also had 2 quarterback hits, so better than what we've seen out of him lately. Abdul Carter had 1 tackle and 1 quarterback hit. We're going to talk about Abdul Carter in 1 second, but Roy Robertson Harris also had 1 quarterback hit and 2 total tackles. 2 of them were solo. So they had 8 quarterback hits and equated for 2 sacks. Okay, let's talk about Abdul Carter, because I was absolutely screaming at Shane Bowen and my television. Why was Abdul Carter not out there on the opening defensive drive? And there have been some reports that have come out and said that he was not out there due to a disciplinary decision. Now, when Kafka spoke to the media after, I didn't get a chance to listen, but I saw some quotes, and the quote basically said that it's an in-house issue that they dealt with, but it was a coach's decision. I'm doing quotes for those of you who are listening. So it's a coach's decision, which means that something went on this week that the coaching staff did not like, and that's why he was not out there. Now, I love Abdul Carter. Yes, I have been a little disappointed in his play. But obviously, I don't know what really happened that made them decide not to play him. But there's accountability in the building. And you know what? If Abdul Carter did something wrong, then good for you. You deserve to be benched for the first drive, because now you're hurting your team. Whatever you did was detrimental enough to your team that the coaching staff said, you're sitting your ass on the bench. And guess what? You couldn't help out your team. So you know what? Sometimes these players have to learn the hard way. I don't like it. I want to see Abdul Carter on the field for every snap, especially when, what's his face? When Kayvon Thibodeau is not on the field. I want to see you getting to the quarterback every goddamn play. But there's accountability in the building. And I'm not even mad about it, because I like it that they actually did something about it. That is what accountability looks like. And if it means that we all have to suffer through a series without Abdul Carter, then so be it. Now, they'll never come out and say what happened. Maybe one of the beat writers will discover what it is. If we find out what it is, I will keep you guys posted and I will let you know, because I am nosy and extremely curious as to what happened. Obviously, it wasn't bad enough to have him benched for the whole game. So that's the good news. So I don't know what it was. Maybe, it wasn't as bad as Keon Coleman, who missed a team meeting and he was inactive for the whole game. So, the Bills like accountability. Winning teams hold themselves and each other's accountable. So I appreciate that. And I'm glad that this is what we're seeing out of Kafka. It's 2 things that he talked about this week: accountability and being aggressive. And I like it. I like what I saw out of Kafka. I did not love what I seen out of Shane Bowen. What else is new? There's no surprise there. Losing Paulson Adebo right before the game was obviously detrimental, because now you're stuck with Tay Banks. And what is worse than being stuck with Tay Banks? Honestly, it's bad every single week. So just absolutely awful having to watch him on the football field. Corey Black left the game with an injury. Thank God he came back, because again, Tay Banks, Corey Black, obviously had some misplays, but I think overall he did a decent job, and he is not afraid to tackle and to make contact and go after guys. And you know what? I'll take it. From a 7th round pick, if you're going to do it and Tay Banks is not going to do it, you deserve to be out on the field. So I was glad that after Corey Black came back from the injury, he was on the field and we saw less of Tay Banks. Now, what I also thought was interesting, and we do not know why, what the story is here, is that Drew Phillips was not on the field towards the end of the game, and Nick Jones was in the slot to replace him. Now, at first, I thought Nick Jones was replacing Tay Banks, and I was like, he's a slot guy, but fine. I don't care who replaces Tay Banks at this point. Put Evan Neal out there for all I care, as long as it's someone. And Nick Jones was playing for him. Now, we do not have a reason here. Again, I expect someone like Dan Duggan to get to the point, down to it, and he's always the king of that. So this is what he tweeted out as of right now. Neither Phillips nor Jones knew the reason for the mid-game switch. Jones just said nickel coach Mike Adams came to him while the offense was on the field in the 3rd quarter and told him he was going in. And, we've heard that a few times from the players, that they don't ask questions. They just do what they told him. Just obviously disappointing from the defense that they come up big. Like I was screaming at the TV again, because they come up big on that last touchdown touchdown drive where on first down and second down, they make huge stops. It's 3rd and 10. And what do? Give up a massive, massive play that ends up resulting in a touchdown. So it's just really frustrating with this team. I mean, thank God Bobby Okereke was out there and they lost Josh Jacobs and we still they had over 100 yards on the ground still with a backup running back. I mean, Josh Jacobs was part of that. Actually had a lot. They had 23 carries for 128 yards. Emmanuel Wilson had 40, Jacobs 40, Melton 17, Malik Willis ran for 16 on 1 carry. So, they gave up 128 yards on the ground, which in the grand scheme of things is not atrocious, but I know for a fact if Josh Jacobs was out there, this would have gone a lot worse. So, we had a blessing where we get Josh Jacobs out, and Malik Willis comes in and Malik Willis scores a touchdown. I'm like, you guys have to be kidding me. Like, we cannot lose this game without Jacobs and Willis. And, I don't know what would have happened if they kept Willis in. I would have liked to think that we would have won the game, but it's the Giants we're talking about. So I really don't know. So, it's again, the Giants. So it's just, they do this repeatedly. So my question is now do we see a Shane Bowen firing at this point? According to Connor Hughes, he said that the Giants were going to allow Kafka to make coaching decisions. So if he wants to fire Shane Bowen, he's allowed to. Now, I think that Kafka didn't want to go ahead and fire him without them having a lot of conversations and seeing how a week, possibly 2, goes with Kafka as the head coach. We'll see what ends up happening here. But it's going to be very interesting to see what he ends up doing. So I don't know if he'll give him another week. The lead was only 1 point, but they still ended up giving up the lead and losing the game. Now, you could say that Mike Kafka's play call and Jalen Hyatt and Jameis Winston and so on and so forth were all part of that. Young Wei Koo missing the extra point, all sorts of things, right? But the biggest thing is it falls on the defense. And, the Packers put up 27 points, which against the Giants is enough to win the game typically. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised by that. But Bobby teammate tackles with 7. Dane Belton was right behind him with 7. So, it's just, I think if a Debo was out there, maybe it's a different game. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Time will tell. I hope that we get him back next week. But we're 2-9, so I don't really know what the rest of the season is going to look like. But I will say I was overall impressed with Mike Kafka's consistency. He backed up his word that he was going to be aggressive and he was going to hold players accountable. And for those 2 things alone, I don't think that means he should be the head coach of the future, but I think it should mean that, he has the team in a better place and he's showing them hopefully what it means to be accountable and take responsibility and be aggressive. Like, that's going to help you win football games. We're not playing to lose over here. And Kafka saying to the media that he was going to go for 2 and he was going to go for the win, like, again, consistently aggressive. So I like that he backed it up. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this week, but there's always next week, right? So the Giants play the Lions in Detroit. Obviously going to be a tough matchup. We will see what changes the Giants make over the next few days or so. I'll be back on Wednesday with my usual Wednesday pod that's going through fantasy around the league, week 12 picks and stuff like that. If they end up firing Shane Bowen, I'll leave it up to you guys. Let me know in the comments if you want a quick update on Shane Bowen. I could also just make a short and post that, or we could talk about it on Wednesday with everything else. So let me know what you guys think. Wednesday will also include a Giants injury update. So I'll talk about that as well. So in the meantime, another loss. They're 2-9, even under Mike Kafka. But I think overall we saw some better things this week than we have seen over the last couple weeks. So, take what I can get with this Giants team, I guess. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe for more.